Hey guys, what's up? It's JRCuber, and in this video we're going to be doing a walkthrough solve of the X-Cube. This is a video I said I was going to make a while back when I first unboxed the X2, and it is an absolutely crucial part in solving the X2, so you gotta know how to solve this guy before you attempt that one. So this isn't going to be a full tutorial, because I'm not going to be explaining everything in a whole lot of detail. I am going to be moving at a fairly good pace, and I am also assuming that you know how to solve the 3x3, 5x5, and 3x3x5 puzzles, because knowing how to solve all three of those puzzles is needed to solve this guy. And so with that, let's go ahead and scramble it up and get started. So after it's all scrambled like this, just doing, these types of moves like this, now we can start shape-shifting it. And when we shape-shift it, it becomes a 3x3. So that's how we're going to solve it to get it back to cuboid shape, is solve it like a 3x3. So there we go. The puzzle is scrambled up now, so let's go ahead and jump right in and get started with the solve. So the first thing that we're going to do is solve it like a 3x3, and the way we're going to do that is by basically just solving these 3x3 faces on yellow and on white, and then just making sure all the right shaped pieces are in their place, and it will return it to its shape. The only pieces of the actual 3x3 that you can see are these top and bottom colors, which is yellow and white. So we're just going to go ahead and form our white cross. So we've already got one edge here. We can put in another edge here like that, another one here, and a final one right here. So the last one's here, so we can just bring it in like that. We don't need to worry about all of these other colors here because those are all part of the extended faces, which we're not going to be solving right now. We're just focused on these colors. So now we're going to go ahead and put in the corners. It looks like this corner here is already in place. It just needs to be rotated. So we'll just bring it out and then put it in the right way, like that. And then we'll do the same thing with this corner. This is all just basic 3x3 stuff. 3x3 corner insertion stuff. So same thing with this one. We'll just bring it up, turn it around twice like that, and then insert it. And there we go. We've got our white face. Now, to build the middle layer, we're going to go completely off of shape, considering there's no middle layer color that we can put in. So we're just going to be finding edges that have these two extensions. Some of them only have one, as you can see here, just has one extension, but not on the other side. So this one has two, and it's already in place. So this one's also in, and so is this one. So we actually only need to put in this one. But if there were more out, we just put them all in to their places. So it doesn't matter where you put them, what color is on them. Just find one that has two pieces sticking out and place it in the middle layer. Now, that doesn't mean that we might not have one of them flipped around. And if you look on the top, you can see that we only have one edge oriented, which means that one of them needs to be flipped. So in order to flip one, I'm just going to go ahead and do R, U, R prime, U prime 3 times. So that's 2, and then 3. And then we can take this pair and bring it out like that, and then insert it from the other side like that, using just like some F2L stuff. So that flips around that edge, and that also gives us 2 edges oriented. And this is actually a very, very easy OLL case, but in order to do this, we're just going to solve OLL basically. But I'm just going to go ahead and do this OLL case, because it's very easy. And there we go. So we've got it back to cube shape. That's just a 3x3 solve, so that should be very easy. So now that we've got it back to cube shape and we've got all of these pieces oriented like this, we can start on these outer faces. So these outer faces are going to solve just like a 5x5. The only thing we have to be careful of is these outside colors here, which usually aren't visible, but we're basically going to pretend that these two 5x5 centers are solved, because really they are, and so then we're just going to solve these 4 here. So let's just go ahead and start on red. The first thing we're going to want to do is build the middle bar. The bar is already made, but we want to make sure it's made with the right colors. So as you can see, there's a yellow piece here that matches up here, but over here it's blue. So this piece needs to be red and white instead of red and blue. So we'll go ahead and look around for it, and it's right here. So the way we can insert this is just bring up the piece that was out, that was in the incorrect place, and replace it with the piece that needs to go there. When we bring it back, it will be in place, and we will have this bar. Now, if we do any turns like this, we'll wreck this bar that we've already made. So let's just go ahead and turn it like that for now. So now we're going to go ahead and build this bar over to the right. So we need to see what corner goes here. It's definitely not this one because these colors don't match. So if we align it like this, we can see a little bit better. For this corner here, we need a yellow, red, and green, because the center is green. We need a yellow, red, green corner. So that will be the first corner of this bar. And from there, we can build it out. So red needs to be on the top since it is a red face, right? And so there is our corner. Now we need to find the edge that goes next to it, and it's right here. It's already in place. So that's really nice. Now we just need to find the corner that goes next to it. And if we follow along, it's going to have red on top and green in front and white on the side, because white is opposite of yellow. So we can look around for that corner. Now this is usually very deceiving because this corner has all of the colors on it, but as you can see, green is on top. So this isn't the corner that we want. We need one that has red on top. So that's going to be this one right here. So we can go ahead and turn it to the side. And then let's see, where is our original bar? Okay, it's here. So this piece actually needs to come down here so we can rotate this side here to line it up. And so here's our red face again, and this bar can turn over here and be placed into the right side like that. And there is our first bar, and as you can see, all the colors match and it all looks good. So now we'll go ahead and move on to this bar. This corner is already in place, so we'll go ahead and build using this corner. So we need to find the edge that goes here, which is a blue-red edge. So that will be right here. So let's just go ahead and bring this corner out to start with so we can actually build it. And then the edge needs to go here. So let's go ahead and put the edge in the same place on this face. So you can see it's in the same location. And then we'll go ahead and bring the corner up to pair it with the edge and move it out of the way and restore that layer. Now we'll find the other corner. This is going to be the last corner that has red on it. So that's going to be here, red facing up, I mean. So we'll go ahead and place that in. So this corner will go to the bottom and this bar will go to the bottom so that we can align them like that, move it out of the way and restore. And then we can place in that bar to this red face. So now that the red face is done, we can just go ahead and align it like that. And you can see that all the colors match up, and all of these side colors should also match up with the center colors. So you can see on green, it also matches with the screen center. So that's good. So let's just go ahead and move on. We'll go ahead and do the blue center next. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with this bar here. I see an orange piece here, and I also see the red piece that goes opposite of this, but as you can see, they're in adjacent locations. This piece needs to come here instead of being here. So a way we can do that really easily is just by turning it to the side and then hiding this red piece like that, and then turning this this bar back to where it was and then restoring, and that will just move them opposite to one another. And then we can align it like that. So let's go ahead and build this bar first, actually, because the corner is already here. So we need the edge that goes here, and that would be right here. So we're just going to go ahead and keep our finger on that, keep track of that, and then move this corner out of the layer. And now we can see that the edge is down here, the corner's up here. So in order to pair the two together, we can't pair them like this, as you can see, because the colors aren't right. This corner needs to be over here. So in order to do that, we'll move the corner over to there and then turn it down. And now you can see it's matched up. So we'll turn it out of the way and restore the layer. Now we need to find this corner. So this is going to have yellow and blue with blue on top. So that's going to be right here, and it also has orange. So let's go ahead and move this corner into this face so we can work with it. So let's go ahead and bring it in just like that. And now we can go ahead and align it with this bar that we're forming. So we'll go ahead and turn this up like that, and then turn the corner up like that, so we can go ahead and pair it up like that. And then we'll turn it in to this face actually, so when we bring it back up, it'll be up in this face, and that makes it easier for us to bring it up into the blue face and then rotate it around, turn it back down just like that. Okay, so now we just have to build our final bar on blue. Two of the pieces are already done here, and the third piece is here. Something I find when I always solving this is that the pieces are super easy to locate, and a lot of times they're often paired together. So it makes bar building really easy, especially since they can't go on this face or this face. It keeps it more contained, and that's just a cool thing about this puzzle. So it should be really, really easy to find pieces. Anyway, I just moved this corner into this layer in the bottom corner. That way I can move this bar over here so I can pair it up like that. and then rotate it out of the way, restore it, and then we can go ahead and insert it. This is just like you would insert a bar on a 5x5. So now that we've got this side made, we can go ahead and turn it around, align it like that. And again, all the colors should match up. So now we've got these two faces done. Now we've just got the last two centers. So this is solved exactly the same way you'd solve last two centers on a 5x5, except the last face, once we get it done, is not going to be solved because we won't have oriented all of the pieces around so that they match up on their side colors. But we're just going to go ahead and solve orange the way we normally would. So let's go ahead and get the orange and white piece that goes across here, and it's just right here. So we will rotate this space up and then put the piece in that place that it needs to go, and then bring it back, and that will form the bar. Then we can turn it like this so we can move these layers freely. And now I see that this bar here actually has these two corners in the correct place. It's just that this edge is in the incorrect place. And the edge that does need to go here is actually just right across, right over here. So the way we can move this edge over to here is actually using a last two centers technique that I've showed before to insert pieces in place. And basically all we're going to do is align it with the center layer and then rotate the middle layer up. We don't want to move it down because then we'll be disturbing a layer that we've already built, but we're going to bring it up like that and then do a U2 and then bring it back down like that. And that will form the bar that will bring in the correct piece. All it did is rotate this around, but it doesn't really matter which way this is rotated as long as it's in line with the middle layer, because we'll fix it at the end. So now we can go ahead and insert this bar. And let's see, this bar needs to go in on the left side. So if we bring in the layer like that, then we can turn this front face around and then restore this layer. So now we just have the last bar, and as you can see, these two pieces are already built, and this piece just needs to move over there basically. So the easy way to do this is actually just to hide this piece like that, just move it up into the back layer, and then take this bar and turn it down so that we can bring it back, restore, and it will form this bar. And then we can do the same thing. We can just bring the slot up that the bar needs to go into, turn it around, bring it back down, and we've solved that layer. And then we can align it just like that. So now, as you can see with green, obviously all the green pieces are going to be facing up, but these pieces here are not solved. So the way we're going to solve this is actually exactly like the last layer of a 3x3x5. Once you've solved everything else and you're on the top layer, you can just do this using cuboid algorithms. So let's go ahead and do that. So if you guys remember, the first step of solving the last layer of a cuboid is doing the corners. So the first thing you want to look for is headlights. So headlights are right here, and then you're going to want to put those on the left side, just like that, and then you can do a corner swap algorithm to switch these two remaining corners that are unsolved. So let's go ahead and do that algorithm. It's R2, U, R2, U prime, R2, U prime, D, R2, U prime, R2, U, R2, D prime. And that puts in all of the corners. Now we just have to solve the edges. So it looks like all of the edges are out, so let's just go ahead and put one of them in. We can start with any one of the edges. To put this one in, this one is white, and since white is opposite yellow, we need to do an opposite edge swap to put it back there. Now, one thing to keep in mind for edges, I always like to do the edges with holding the flat faces to the left and right. That way we're doing all of our R turns along this layer. It makes parity easier to deal with at the end. So let's go ahead and switch these two edges. So that's just R2, U2, R2, U2, R2, U2. And as you can see, that did create a parity, but we did solve that edge. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about how to solve the parity now, because we can skip a step kind of and go straight to solving the parity instead of finishing the rest of the edges. Because if you know you have parity, which in this case I know I do, and that's because of the case that we have with the edges now, we would do an opposite edge swap here and then an adjacent edge swap here. The opposite edge swap would solve the parity, but then doing the adjacent edge swap would just give us parity again. So we're going to end up with parity in the end. But we don't want the parity to look like this. We don't want these colors to be messed up here. What we want is to have two edges that need to be flipped on one of top face. And we can make that happen actually by doing an adjacent edge swap with these two pieces here. So as you can see, this one already is in an opposite edge swap position, but these two just need a switch. And when we switch these two, it will solve the yellow, but not the red. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's just go ahead and do an adjacent edge swap right here. So that's R2, U, R2, U, R2, U2, R2, U2, R2, U, R2, U prime, R2. And now we just have this parity with an opposite edge swap. This is usually impossible on a 3x3x5, but it's actually very, very easy to solve on this puzzle. So when you have this case, you just want to hold it with the unsolved face on the top, and then just do R, U2 5 times. So that's it. That was 1. So let's do it again. R, U2, that's 2, 3, 4, 5. And that does it. So that's it. That's how I solve the X cube. It's basically just a mix of a 3x3 solve, and then you do a 5x5 center solve, and then you solve the last layer like a 3x3x5. It's not that bad. It's actually pretty fun, and it's just an interesting puzzle. So the reason why we need to know this for solving the X2 is because the X2 is just 2 of these, 2 X cubes, at least in the way you solve it. Basically what you do is once it's all scrambled, you return it to its proper shape by solving, you know, these pieces here of this inner 3x3, and then you solve this layer. So here I'll do it. It's like this layer, this layer, this layer, and this layer here, just like an X cube. And then you solve all the outer layers. So this layer, this layer, this layer, and this layer, like another X cube, just being careful not to mess up the inner layers. It's kind of like how on the 3x3x5 you return it to cuboid shape and then do a 3x3x2 solve twice. That's basically the same thing with this. You return it to its proper shape and then do an X cube solve twice. So I'm going to save this for another video, but yeah, that was the solve for the X cube. So let me know if this was at all helpful. If I went too fast, please let me know. Also, if you'd like to purchase this cube, the link will be in the description if you'd like to buy it. You can also purchase these in some stores, so I'm sure there's some mall stores that have them, and I know that Barnes & Noble carries these, so you can actually buy these in a retail store if you don't want to buy it online. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it helpful. If you guys liked it, give it a like, and if you haven't already done so, like my Facebook page, follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and of course subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.